I'm Shen. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Gen 3 Games and also Tradeverse, which I was showing off yesterday at the Expand event. And today I'm going to be talking about how we can drive the adoption of XRP through gaming. This is what I'll be talking about today, going over these various different topics and especially looking into how gaming can drive the sustainability of projects, and also how, when looking at things like the APAC region, gaming can be a really powerful adoption mechanism. So first, I just want to start off with a bit of an introduction into the gaming industry, both the traditional and the Web3 side. So when looking at the traditional gaming industry, it has become by far the largest and most popular traditional entertainment industry. When a really great example of this is looking at the top grossing films of all time, which are things like Avatar and Avengers, which both grossed around $3 billion each. But then when looking at some of the highest grossing games, things like Minecraft and Grand Theft Auto, those have both respectively grossed over $6 billion each. So we can see that the traditional gaming industry is already doing double, if not more, volume than the traditional film and television markets. So this is a trend that has just exponentially grown over the last 2 decades with the increase of gaming technology. And then what we also saw, a lot during the 2021 bull run period is the adoption of Web3 and blockchain into gaming as well. This is when we saw the rise of play-to-earn games and NFT integrated gaming, and that had a lot of positive impacts for the Web3 gaming industry for quite a while, but then we also started to see towards the end of that quite a lot of negative stigma towards play to earn and integrating Web3 into games. So there are some ways that Web3 integrated gaming does differ from the traditional gaming industry. Some of these core elements are to do with the verification of in-game assets. So by using blockchain, we're able to really actually verify the ownership of these in-game assets for players, and these players can have complete self-custodial control of these assets no matter what happens to the central game which these assets fall under. So, when looking at the traditional gaming industry, if you're collecting assets in a game and then eventually that game shuts down, you lose complete control over those assets, and there is nothing you'll ever be able to do to get those assets back again or do anything with those assets. As well, blockchain integration really helps with tokenizing the reward mechanisms of games as well. And this is a really powerful mechanism which really drove the whole play-to-earn phase of Web3 gaming. And what this allows is for games and game developers to tokenize on-chain the reward mechanisms for players. This means that players are then able to convert these rewards into a monetary fiat currency using a centralized or decentralized exchange. This was very powerful and really drove a lot of growth for the gaming sector. However, we started to see these games focus too heavily on the earning side and not so much on the playing side, and a lot of the enjoyment factor of games, which is the whole reason why the gaming industry is successful, really lacked a lot. So I think there is still a massive amount of potential for the Web3 gaming space, and I think we're starting to see that a lot with game developers starting to focus more again on the playing side of these games and the player experience, which is extremely important. So I think there is still massive potential, and I think we're starting to see a shift in the way that these blockchain integrated games are developed so that it favors the playing experience more over the earning experience. So I also want to talk about how gaming is a really great way to achieve effective on-chain participation. So gaming, if you're able to create a game which has players coming back every single day to spend multiple hours a day playing this game, what it does is that if this game has various on-chain mechanisms, such as on-chain rewards, and players are able to then spend these rewards on-chain through stores, and everything is tokenized, what you have is these users who are making tens, if not hundreds, of on-chain transactions on a daily basis within a couple of hours, and they're doing this every single day. When comparing this to other Web3 sectors, such as things like DeFi, a lot of it is kind of set and forget. So a user will come in, set their DeFi parameters, maybe check up on it in a week or in a month, but they're not creating many, many transactions on a daily basis the way that gaming can facilitate. Gaming is also a really great way for projects to create real value for the in-game assets. As I touched on before and talking about things like play to earn, by tokenizing the reward mechanisms of games, players are able to, all these hours and hours a day that they're spending to generate these rewards, they're able to then turn that into a monetary fiat currency using an exchange. This is extremely powerful because we've seen in the traditional gaming industry, many games such as World of Warcraft and many other MMOs, players, if they enjoy the experience, they will spend many hours a day grinding these in-game currencies, but there is no way for them to convert this into any sort of real-world value. By tokenizing these rewards on-chain, it provides a way for players to receive real-world value for the time that they're putting into playing this game. And these truly interactive experiences create truly engaged users. So if you have an experience or a game which has a player engaging very heavily with the blockchain and with the network on a daily basis, it's a very easy next step for these users to then become very engaged with the network itself. If they really enjoy this game that is built on the XRP Ledger using XRP, after spending a considerable amount of time playing this game and enjoying this experience and being engaged and active in it, they are then very close to wanting to learn more about the network itself and become engaged in other aspects of the network, such as consensus and such as amendments and things like that. So I think it's a really important first step into bringing more engaged participants into the network as well. Gaming is also a really great way to build sustainable projects. Building an enjoyable gaming experience, it creates a real reason for users to consistently make purchases. What I see a big issue with a lot of NFT projects is they will do a large-scale mint when they launch the project, and they'll have a bunch of money, but there is no way for them to generate any more revenue beyond this. And this often leads to the project slowly dying off, and they're not able to have the revenue to be able to reinvest and grow the project itself. So if you have a game with players who genuinely enjoy the game and the experience, you can then release assets over time which are usable in this game, which players are very happy to purchase and generate revenue for the project, because they're not purchasing this asset based on potential speculation. They're purchasing this asset because they want to use it right now on purchase in the game. This is a really strong way for projects to be able to generate a consistent revenue, which I think is extremely important. And this is a big topic in the XRPL ecosystem, over the last year, which is how can we bring more developers into the XRPL. I think one of the best ways to do this from a project perspective is to generate enough revenue that you're able to bring in these developers. You're able to pay more developers to join your team, to join the XRPL, and to begin building on the XRPL. So I think that it's an extremely important piece of bringing these new developers in, that the projects themselves, bake in these revenue models in a way that they then can themselves bring in these developers through, the funding that they are generating. NFT integrated gaming experiences are a really exciting use case for NFTs as well. I really believe the future of NFTs is assets that can be used and have actual use case outside of the future speculatory value of these assets. People should be buying NFTs based on what it can do as soon as they buy it, not for the potential that someone might buy it from them in a month later for double the price, right? So I think gaming is the perfect way to be able to add this right now real utility to these assets. And facilitating on-chain activity is a really great way to make your project a lot more attractive to external funding, such as grants and investments. These different funding mechanisms are here not to sustain projects, but to support the growth of projects. And if a project can show that it's able to generate revenue on its own and it has these baked-in revenue mechanisms, it becomes a lot more attractive to receiving these additional support and investments, which will help grow the project. So I think as projects, and especially those that are looking to participate in the various XRPL grants programs, or they're looking to do an investment round, it's really important that these projects have built-in revenue models that show these external investors that they can sustain this project long-term beyond the funding. So now I want to talk a little bit about Zeron, which is Gen 3's flagship game, which is currently live on the XRP Ledger, and look at it as a bit of a case study for how we've been able to drive on-chain participation on the XRPL through our game, Zeron. So far, Zeron has generated an unprecedented amount of sales and dApp volume through our really player-first engaging experience. Right now, Zeron is doing over $100,000 of in-game dApp volume, and we're also generating between 40 to 50,000 XRP of secondary sales per month. So, and this is purely to do with the genuine enjoyment that players have for playing the game. This is not to do with the speculatory value of these NFTs. So we really focused on building the player experience first, and we really wanted to make sure that the game would be genuinely enjoyable to play, even if there was no blockchain integration at all. And we just add blockchain and tokenization on top as a way to enhance various elements of the game, but it would work perfectly fine without it. And I think that that's a great way to focus on the player side of the play and earn sort of experience. And through our on-chain activity, we're able to facilitate a significant amount of on-chain participation from our users who, our players who are playing, multiple hours a day, they're running tens, if not hundreds of on-chain transactions every single day. This is something that we don't see in DeFi or even on NFT trading. It's something that is very specific to gaming, and I think it's an extremely powerful way to really push and promote on-chain activity and on-chain participation. So now, looking at the intersection of XRP, gaming, and the APAC region, which is something that I'm very passionate and very excited about. Looking at the APAC region, that region has the largest amount of XRP held out of any region in the entire world. And then you also look at what entertainment industries are the most popular in this region as well. It is gaming, right? And then we're looking at XRP as well, and if it is good for gaming, and I believe it is a really strong asset for being used in these different gaming experiences. And this is to do with the extremely high-speed transactions and extremely deep global liquidity. Transaction speed and cost is extremely important for games, which are constantly distributing rewards, and players are constantly making on-chain transactions. It needs to be fast and cheap. And deep global liquidity is extremely important because if you have a token as a core currency within your game, it needs to be easily able to be acquired by any of these players from anywhere on the globe, right? And I think that's a very powerful thing with XRP and its presence on, globally and on so many different global exchanges. It provides the perfect use case for being used in gaming. So I think when looking at trying to activate more retail utility for XRP, looking at the APAC region is extremely important. There is so much XRP held there, and gaming is so ingrained in their culture. If we can use gaming as an avenue to bring all of that XRP, which is held in countries like Korea and Japan, if we can bring that XRP on-chain through gaming, I believe that that can be a really big catalyst for the retail adoption of XRP and the retail use case of XRP and the XRPL. So now looking at gaming as an adoption mechanism, I believe it is one of, if not the most powerful adoption mechanism for not only XRP, but for blockchain and Web3 in general. If you create an enjoyable gaming experience, that can turn someone who is just an average trader, they might trade crypto once a week or once a month. It can turn someone like that into an on-chain power user who is running tens, hundreds of transactions every single day. And a lot of the time, they don't even know that they're running all of these transactions because it's hidden under the hood of the gaming experience that they really just enjoy playing. So I think it's a really great way to activate a lot of these potential users who they might use the XRPL or XRP once a week or once a fortnight, but they through a interactive experience like gaming, they can start to really use the chain heavily on a daily basis. Gaming is also a really great way to onboard non-blockchain users through a familiar experience. As I mentioned before, the traditional gaming industry is by far the largest entertainment industry. And if we're able to put blockchain under the hood of these games and use these gaming experiences as a way for users to, try out blockchain and crypto for the first time, we're able to provide them with an extremely familiar experience, especially if these games are of high quality. These players they're coming to use the chain not for the blockchain, but for this gaming experience, right? And we're able to hide the blockchain under the hood. I think this is a trend that we've really seen, especially in the wallet space recently as well, where it's all about trying to make crypto and blockchain a lot easier and sort of hiding a lot of the complex aspects under the hood so that it is much more approachable for non-crypto native users. And gaming is just a really great way to do this because of the existing popularity of gaming in the traditional entertainment space. When looking at trying to onboard the younger generation and then the next generation of Web3 users, I also believe that gaming will be one of the most powerful ways to do this. When looking at the traditional gaming space, the largest demographic of gamers is these younger generations. And if we're able to integrate blockchain and Web3 under the hood of these gaming experiences, it'll be the perfect way to onboard this next younger generation of users and builders without even them knowing that they're being onboarded into crypto and Web3. And if they are really enjoying the experience, then they then have the opportunity and a very easy next step for them to start learning more about what is actually happening on-chain as they're playing these games. And gaming really facilitates positive on-chain experiences, which is then shared by users to people around them and other users. when looking at marketing, word of mouth is by far the strongest marketing tool out there. And if you're able to create a really positive gaming experience for users, they're going to share that experience to other people around them who often have a similar viewpoint. It's going to be gamers sharing it with other gamers and people like that. And so, especially if a user has a really great experience playing a game on the XRPL, they will also now have a really positive experience of the XRPL as well. And so when they're sharing their positive experience about the game that they had and playing and maybe earning and all these different aspects of it, they're also sharing a very positive reflection of the network itself, like the XRPL. So I believe that through creating high quality games and experiences, it's one of the best ways to facilitate this positive word of mouth marketing for the network that this game lives on. And so this leads me to the part of my presentation which I am very excited about, which is talking about what we're building and our contribution to the adoption of XRP through gaming. So we have Zeron, which has become a very successful game and is the most actively played game on the XRP Ledger right now. But we are now working on a new game as well, which I'll be revealing for the first time here, which is really our goal with this is to really look at how we can genuinely drive the adoption of XRP through gaming and provide the most accessible gaming experience possible with XRP integrated. So this game is called Untamed Isles. We're working closely with the Futureverse team on this game, and it is a completely 3D open world creature collecting and battling game. Where players are able to join up with their friends, collect creatures, and generate assets and resources. And it uses XRP as the default native currency. And as it is also launched on the root network, it uses XRP for all the gas transactions in the game as well. So now I will show off the trailer for Untamed Isles, and this is the first time that we've showed it off or anything publicly. Thanks. We're extremely excited to be working on Untamed Isles alongside Futureverse. It's a project that we're very, very passionate about, and we'll be integrating Zeron IP as a core aspect of the game, with a lot of the familiar creatures that you find in Zeron will also be found in Untamed Isles. And I think an important part of the game as well, as shown here, is that it will also have a Steam version of the game, which will be a non-blockchain integrated version of the game, which will allow users to play the game with no blockchain at all. Completely, Web 2 users will be able to play the game distributed through Steam, but at any time they would like to, as they accrue assets in the game, they can convert these into on-chain versions of these assets and begin trading them using XRP at any point in time. And so this is really the culmination of our vision of how we can help onboard the next generation of gamers onto using XRP. Thank you, everyone.